When you're working with somebody who's not doing what you want them to do, is not doing what they ought to be doing, they're not doing it either because they can't, ability, or they don't want to, motivation. And I'm going to focus on the motivation side and build a model of motivation. I want to start by debunking a myth. The opposite of motivated isn't lazy. I'm not saying there aren't lazy people out there. What I'm saying is thinking about someone as lazy doesn't give you much purchase power for changing them. It works better if you think of all of us as always being motivated, but not always being motivated to do what you want us to do, right? So I might be really motivated to go home and take a nap, and I might work really hard and be really creative and find some ingenious way to make that happen. That's a motivation problem, right? So a motivation problem is like a difference in priorities. So we're going to look at how do you explain your priorities in a way that's believable and convincing, while at the same time understanding the other person's priorities so that you can make a balanced, careful, wise decision. So that's what this is about. And I want to introduce the way you motivate somebody is by explaining consequences. What I mean by consequences are results, impacts, outcomes. We're motivated by the outcomes of our behavior, right? And there are two broad classes of outcomes or consequences to consider: natural consequences and imposed consequences. Here's an example of natural consequences. Junior, if you ride your bike on the wrong side of the road, drivers may have trouble seeing you and you could get hit. It's a natural consequence. Here's an imposed consequence. Junior, if I catch you riding your bike on the wrong side of the road, I'm going to lock you in your room till you're 23. Okay? That's an imposed consequence. Now, we're going to argue that when possible, you want to motivate using natural rather than imposed consequences. And there are a lot of reasons for that. Let me share some of those reasons. The first is, with natural consequences, you don't have to have power over them. You can be their peer. You can use natural consequences with your boss, maybe even your parents, right? Now, another reason is you don't become the focus of resentment. They aren't angry at you because you're making them do something. Instead, you're explaining the way the world works, and they get to make their own informed choice. Right? That's powerful. Again, you don't have to catch them doing something wrong because they understand they're committed to the right course of action, and they're self-motivated, becomes intrinsic. They learn why you care about the issue. When you say, do it because I said so, they know that you care, but they don't know why you care. Right? Now you've explained it. Right? And finally, they're motivated by understanding rather than just obedience. Oftentimes, when you're working with knowledge workers, with experts, obedience isn't nearly good enough. You need their full understanding and commitment because you're expecting them to use their ingenuity, their creativity, their initiative to go way beyond what you could order them to do.